Hola! Just got the ping on my phone. Just gonna check the sound quality real fast. I got an ad. Turn that down. Those Timu ads, I don't get. I've never even met anybody that's actually ordered anything on Timu. Oh yeah, I sound fine. Okay, good. Well, I hope everybody's doing okay. Happy New Year. And um, took a couple weeks off there of some major YouTubing just because the holidays and stuff with the HobbyPlex. We're always super busy. We're going to be super busy for probably another week, and then it kind of calms back down a little bit. Start focusing again on some repairs at the store that we got to get through. Um, kind of just starting to get all of our 2024 events in order. We're still planning on doing the big rehab for the store, I think. Um, Sounds like it's a go. So, yeah. Um, Glad to be back with you. And it's 2024 day one. I just got done watching Alabama and Michigan play, which was pretty freaking awesome. And missing Texas and Washington, but that's okay. I got stuff I got to do. I promised my brother-in-law that I would work on his buggy for him and get it ready for Plex Spec, as we are going to be back. We're back to the grind starting tomorrow. Tiny Tuesday off-road starts tomorrow. We got Family Friday off-road this Friday. We got Hot Wheels racing on Thursday, on-road racing on Wednesday. So we're right back to what we do. And I want to get this thing ready. It's a Team Losi TLR 2.0. It is configured around to the mid motor. Um, that's a GTB3 speed controller, probably one of the most reliable Novak speed controllers ever made, and it works. There's a Thunder Power 8.5 mod motor in there, and I'm going to put in this old school Ballistic 17.5 that Rob had around. We're going to put this back in it to slow it down a little bit, make it a little easier to drive. I'm also going to try to change the front axles to a regular 12 millimeter hex, because this is still running that old smaller hex that Losi had. And then another thing I want to do is I want to put this battery tray holder in here, because right now this car doesn't have one. The battery's basically just kind of in there, so we're going to change that out too. And yeah, should be able to turn this car around and get it ready to go. A lot of comments already. A new buggy coming out. Yeah, there is. Team Associated B7. Um, we're all kind of waiting to see better views of the cars. All we've gotten to see so far is the front end. They're doing like a 7-day video series, so I'm sure they'll be releasing more and more starting tomorrow. Um, that being said, speaking of cars, any of you locals that are looking for a good buggy, um, I'm going to be selling my B6.4 after the last syndicate race. So January 20th, um, I'll probably be selling mine. Actually, now that I say that, maybe not, because so. For those of you that have the weekend of February 4th off, you're more than welcome to join me down in Newton, Kansas again at RC Pit Stop for their annual winter race. They moved it up a couple weeks. It's been the week before our crash in the last couple years, and now they have it February 4th, and it fits nicely between um, the Carpet Off-Road Syndicate, the crash in, and a Techno series. So I think that should work pretty well. Um, but yeah, I'm going to be selling my B6.4 at some point, and then Emerson's going to be selling his Losi 5.0 pretty much tomorrow, if I can. So look for some good used buggies on the market, as we only have 2 months to go, and then we're back on the dirt, guys. So I'm actually really looking forward to it. No, I don't have any idea on when the B7 will be released. That's one of the questions on here from Travis Clancy. I've been away from the Plex for 4 days, and I will find out more when I go back to work tomorrow. So I'm actually going to call team associated directly and see if I can just put some directly on back order instead of waiting for distribution channels. And but I remember that when the B6.4 came out, that it was right around March when it was actually released, but I think they announced it later too. I don't think it was a January 1st announcement. So the fact that they're changing the name from a B6 point whatever to a B7 leads me to believe that there's a lot more changes on that car. So I'm waiting just like you guys to see better pictures of it. Haven't seen you since last year. Yeah, I know. I haven't. You can do all those jokes for a few days, and then the jokes go away. All right, so we're going to get started. So enough talking out of my butt. Comments roll through. I'll try to get to them. I'm going to crack open a kickstart. And I think first thing we're going to do very quickly is just change the motor out real fast. I already got my soldering iron ready to go. Hopefully I don't burn myself, because that would be bad. TLR ever going to come out with a new car? I don't know, man. I mean, you would assume at some point. I think, I mean, obviously at some point they will. It's weird, like, I remember being frustrated as a team driver because our four-wheel drive at the time was the TLR 22.4, not X4, but just 22.4, 2.0. And, you kind of felt as a driver that was one, at that time, like 2016 and 17, that maybe we were kind of behind, and it was getting frustrating to have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and hope that got replaced. And eventually it did. The 22 X4 is an amazing car, and it's one of my favorite cars to drive. But it was tough being a team driver and going into competitions knowing or feeling that you're kind of maybe outclassed a little bit. I don't think they're quite. Get out all my tools here. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I do think that there's probably a sense. I hope there's a sense of urgency that they probably need to. They're going to have to. I would hope that they're going to have to really realize that sales-wise, I mean, just from a hobby store standpoint, we just don't see the TLR stuff selling the two-wheel drive car near as fast, So I hope that there's a sense of urgency there without sacrificing quality. I think that's the hard part for sure. So this is an old school Thunder Power 8.5 motor at 0 degrees timing. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to see if I can buy this motor from him, because I actually have my goal this year. So I collected all these cars behind me from like 2020. I mean, I had them before that, but the collection really increased throughout 2020-21 as all these people were starting to get this stuff out of the woodwork and see if they can get it going again. Because COVID had affected their lives so much, and they had the time and they could kind of attack projects that have been sitting around for a long time. And what I want to do is I want to get a Gold Tub running so that I can join in any sort of vintage racing that's out there. And then I want to have at least one or two more of my vintage cars, and I was thinking my XXX buggy and possibly my B4 buggy would be pretty sweet to get running again. I think an 8.5 in a XXX, because the time periods also would be correct too. This is right around the time when the changeover from the Triple X to the 22 happened is when these motors were out. So might try to finagle that one away. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so this is an old school ballistic 17.5. These motors were pretty darn fast back in the day. It's got a whole bunch of leads on it that are no bueno, so we're gonna get this melted off of there. Come on. I don't know what kind of solder this is. There we go. Emerson, we haven't quite decided yet what he's going to run. I kind of asked him, we were talking about associated cars again, even before the B7 was announced. And then there's also, with Tom Rennerneck being here and Riley and Andrew, Dalton, you know, that whole gang's, you know, having a lot of success running Xray. We might see Emerson switch it up and run an Xray for a while. We're not quite sure yet. We thought about Schumacher even, you know, would be kind of cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is get a bunch of this crappy solder off of here. Because I feel like it's old, so. But yeah, we haven't really decided yet, so. But it'll be, you know, I was kind of posing maybe Xray as an option just because of Tom being around, you know, moving back home. And he's going to be at the track a lot more, obviously. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. Plus, you know, Riley, Andrew Thomas, getting his sponsorship. It wouldn't even be a sponsor deal. Just be buying the car and running it. If the Mugen was out, we might even give that a look-see, but it's not out yet. So I don't know. We'll figure it out here in the next month or so and get ready, because he and I are both planning on going to the Roarnats, and I would like to see him get a good car. Not saying the TLR is not a good car, but again, I don't know, we're just kind of looking for something different, looking maybe to find an edge, or maybe just some confidence even again. Associated is trying to strategy. They're playing Battleship. It's pretty funny. Dallas Boyd knows where a good tub is. Also B2 and a B3. So yeah, dude. The only car I'm missing from my Associated collection, actually I was going to talk about this, is of the older vintage cars, is a B2. And I found that a lot of the B2s were converted into B3s because you could buy that B3 conversion kit. So there's not a whole lot of B2s out there. So I would be interested in picking up a B2 if the price wasn't too crazy, hopefully. B3 I already have. I have a good one, actually. Tony Leatherman picked that up for me at an auction in Kansas a while ago. They had a bunch of stuff there, and I was like, get the B3 if you can. Get the B3. And he got it, so that was pretty awesome. And then from my Losi collection, the Losi one is the one that I have pretty much finished off. If I could find a Junior T, I'd be interested in finding one of those next. But other than that, man, my TLR collection's pretty damn good. Yeah, that's fine. Dallas just said I'll talk to the guy soon and Facebook you. So yeah, that's great. That'd be kind of cool if I could find one finally. You know, it took forever to get a king cab, so I'm a patient person when it comes to the old school cars I'm looking for. Any chance of a low C LMT dollar race at the crash in? I don't know. We'll see how many low C LMTs we have. That's a good idea. I'd be up for it. I think it'd be funny. So especially since mini B is kind of already a class now. So yeah, I think it'd be a blast. Also frustrating, TLR hasn't updated a stadium truck. Yeah, we finally sold the one that I had. The one of the sales I thought I had on the 22 truck at the store ended up not coming through. Never paid us for it, so moved on to the next person, and I lost track of where I was at. Yeah, it is kind of weird that all they have is a buggy. So making sure I don't screw this up because I think these are backwards if I remember right. Dallas Boyd asks, "Do I find it frustrating running a hobby shop that manufacturers keep updating quickly on 10 scale?" Um, no, not really. Because most of the changes that are happening aren't like wholesale changes to the car. So you do end up with um, you do end up with cars that basically, man, I hate how long that is, but I don't really want to mess with shortening that. Cars that aren't that different. I mean, you could basically have most of the same parts were essentially the same from the B6 1. There were some changes, but the you know we don't we go maybe like two or three deep on stuff. So if there was a part that was completely different, eventually you still need to have parts for all the people with the old cars, but eventually those kind of filter out. You don't see too many just actual B6s anymore, B61s even. Um, I think there's still a Plex or two out there with B5M. We still have a couple parts for that, but it's getting harder and harder for those guys to find stuff. But so far there hasn't been crazy changes. The B7s, I'm sorry, the B64 to the B74, that was a wholesale, pretty much a wholesale change, and we finally just got rid of all of our B64 parts. Kind of had to fire sale them, but I wanted to keep that stuff around for people who still had the old cars. But no, not really. It's not that bad. Um, Getting stuck with the kits can kind of stink a little bit, but generally speaking, I don't think we really get stuck with them that much. That being said, I think we do have two of each B6.4s, two carpet and two dirt. So we'll have to mark those down here pretty soon, and make somebody happy. But I think it's been like that forever. I mean, I remember I bought my LXT from Hobby Haven in Des Moines when the 22, not 22, when the double XT came out, and I got mine marked down. You know, so I think that sort of thing's been around for a while. It's just the spacing, like a B4, that thing was around for what, 7 years before there was any major changes to it. So I can see that those days are gone. Like, they're just gone. You just have to be more careful when you order stuff, and you kind of have to read the tea leaves a little bit too. So like this B7 announcement, I think it kind of caught Tim and I maybe a little bit by surprise, actually. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have ordered any more B6.4 kits after we sold them for Christmas. So that one's on us. But we'll, before that, I think we did pretty good from the 6.3 to the 6.4. I think we were pretty good on that. you know, the TLR stuff's just weird because sometimes, like the truck and the short course truck, they haven't replaced it with anything. So you almost wanted to have those kits in stock because you knew they wouldn't be back, you know? I don't know. So, yes, frustrating, sort of, not really. It's not really. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we are wired up with the new motor, and I'm going to unplug my soldering iron so I don't have to worry about it burning my house down. Try not to knock into my microphone here. Sorry if that's loud, everybody. Drone Man RC says you're a real pro at your craft. Wow, thanks. First time on the chat. HobbyPlex show gives some detailed info. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate that a lot. Do the best we can. You know, when we do the podcast, I kind of spoof it off. That Will is the more knowledgeable one of the two podcast members, and it's totally true, 100%. But I've been doing this a long time, you know. I try to pass on what I learn and try to problem solve. They got to do that at the hobby store too, you know. And that's just part of the deal. Okay, we're going to make sure that that motor works. So we're going to turn on this ancient speed controller real fast. And got to plug in the one thing about these old Novak motors, the way they were built is they have this really, really deep sensor board on the side here. So you got to like really get it in there. It's pretty crazy. So that goes like that. Get it in there without bending anything. Press this in here. Got 25 people on here tonight. That's awesome. This is kind of a fun deal. I was actually planning on starting to build my clear RC10 tonight. I think that's going to wait until next week. I'm going to be... No, it won't be next week because I'll be building a new track on Monday. So there won't be one of these next week. And I think the next week after that, we'll probably do a podcast to talk about the Will's Chili Bowl experience. He's going to the Chili Bowl. So, crap. Drone Man wants to know, where's your hobby store at, by the way. It's in Omaha, Nebraska. Hobbytown, HobbyPlex. Look up hobbyplexraceway.net. That's our actual hobby store website. One of our racers, Nick Pavel, actually designed the website for us, which is the new website, which is pretty awesome. All right. Steering. Motor goes. That's pretty awesome. So the one thing that I do really miss, okay, guys, is the Novak. A lot of people didn't like it, and I could never figure out why they didn't like it. But I loved the Novak setup. It had like all the parameters were done by flashing lights. So you would. So right now, I'm going to show you guys this. It's pretty awesome. So right now, it's solid red light and blinking white. Pretty sure that's for blinky. And then if I unplug the sensor wire, it would give me a code. It was giving me a code early, which was, I'm pretty sure, red with a green blinky, which means, hey, your sensor wire is not hooked up. I'm not going to do it right now, but basically you would hold the button down, and then it would start going through all the parameters, and you could change each one of those parameters based on the number of the color codes and the flashing lights. And you didn't have to go out and buy a separate thingy, you know, and you could just change stuff on the fly. And for a while there, I had it all memorized because we were running. God, God, what was the name of the good one? The Pulse, the Novak Pulse. That was my last speed controller as a Novak driver, back in 15 and 16, and I kind of had the lights all kind of memorized. You could go in and change drag brakes and stuff like that, but obviously, um, it was a cool design. It was very different than the stuff that we have now. The stuff we have now with mostly Hobbywing style setup is also, it's very easy, and but you do have to have that separate box. And like at the Worlds, I forgot mine, so I had to go bug Charlie every single time that I needed to change something. You know, where if it was like this, you could just go in and do it. For a little while there, they all had that, you know, too, where you could change stuff by flashy lights, but it wasn't as clean and it wasn't as easy as how Novak had it, you know. So it's pretty crazy that this still works. It's pretty awesome. What's a big track changes coming up to the track for the next round of Techno? Also, any thoughts on this weekend's carpet layout? Good question. Yeah, big changes for the Techno series. We've had the same layout 2 times in a row, and I'm finally sort of, I decided in the middle of last round of qualifying day. Well, it was qualifying main day, but I definitely don't want to have that triple going into where it's going now with oncoming traffic this way. So, yeah, I don't really have anything drawn out. It's all kind of in my head. I have a very specific plan of attack on changing it up. Unfortunately, the flowy jumps in the back, I'm going to have to cut short to do what I want to do. I still wanted to keep that front middle straightaway. I thought that was really rad. And so we are going to keep that. But basically, almost everything in the middle is going to change. 2 of the jumps in the back are going to be the same. And then how we get onto the oval is going to be different. And then the middle of the oval will be slightly different. There's probably going to be a little bump to jump up to the top of it. You know, you can't change a whole lot in the oval because I don't want to mess up the oval. Quite honestly, there's not much you can do with the oval without making it worse. Having both styles of racing kind of use the same part of the racetrack. So most of the changes are going to be right in the middle of the racetrack, and it's going to be quite a bit different. There will be a 180 before that middle straightaway, and it'll be a berm. It's going to be a really cool looking berm if everything gets done right. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of like revitalized after this little break we've had. I want to get out there and change it, but we got to get through this week first. So, yeah, that's the answer to the question. On the carpet track, I'm not sure what the Honored guys are going to do. They might change the layout Wednesday, and if they do, you know, we'll look at it and just sort of see. We only have to build the carpet track 5 more times. So 2 syndicate races in January, 2 double dip races in February, and then the crash in, and then we are done for the year for carpet off-road. And I know I like racing carpet off-road. I hate setting it up. It's like my least favorite thing to do now at the Plex, because it's like 4 hours of work for 1 day of racing, half a day of practice, and then if you count Friday nights, and then it's got to be gone. So it's a lot of work. It's not my favorite thing to do. It really isn't. Okay, these tires are gross. They're dirty and old. So we need to, 2 things we got to do is we're going to see if we can change the axle in the front to your modern day 12mm hex, and I'm pretty sure these are low-C hexes, so we're going to do that next. Got more love from Drone Man Joe. He's from Pennsylvania. That's pretty cool. very crazy how different places are. You know, Omaha's always had at least one really good hobby store, like as far as I can remember. And obviously, we've been there 20 years now. Um, when the Plex came around, it just kind of solidified how good we have it, I guess. I don't know. Another good question. You mentioned the desire to not have four-wheel drive on carpet because of how hard it is on the track. Do you have another class or body option we could use instead of four-wheel drive? Yeah, so I kind of said that out of frustration because it seems like all the bad rips that we've had lately are from the four-wheel drive front ends because there's no material up there, right? And I've seen some places where they're taking... Honestly, you should do this on dirt too, but... So, like the TLR car here, right? It's got your front bumper. Well, if this bumper comes off or somebody doesn't put this bumper on, you end up with your exposed chassis and this really hard edge on the chassis. And I'm pretty sure the B74s don't have this. And so your B74s, your B64s, they can really, the four-wheel drives, they really get in there, and they it's why we don't have a very steep step up anymore, because when you laid carpet over that last year, we had it and we tried it, and I had to take the carpet completely off of it because the four-wheel drives are coming in so hot that this front end that doesn't have a whole lot of kick up to it just grabbed that carpet and just tore it, you know. And you've seen that at other races. I remember a race at Minnesota. What was the name of that place? Thunder Road? That big indoor carpet track. One of the years they had their J Concepts race up there, and same thing. You know, a four-wheel drive car had come and gouged the front of it and ripped it, and then cars were coming up and they basically pile on into it. They almost had to, I think they had to stop the race or whatever. So most of the bad tears lately have been from the four-wheel drive cars, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know, maybe we just don't have four-wheel drive next year. Just eliminate it altogether because we don't have a mod four-wheel drive class. We only have 13.5 four-wheel drive. You know, it's an option, but it's also not an option. You know, I maybe just said that out of my butt. But what could we replace it with? I mean, we already have Stadium Truck. We already have two versions of stock buggy. The mod buggies do really well at our place. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those I'll mull over next year, and we might have new carpet next year too. And if that's the case, it might be a moot point because the way that we would do the new carpet, I think the old carpet would stay, and the off-roaders, it wouldn't be that big of a deal anymore if the carpet got ripped up as bad, because new carpet would go over the top of it when the on-road guys race. So it might be a moot point. We'll have to see how this year goes, this coming up summer and stuff, because I think Tim is still thinking that new carpet, you know, it's getting to be about that time where we need to get new carpet again. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Comments coming in quick. Hated the way that front wheel nut was. Yeah, so on the old TLR cars, not only did they have a smaller hex, so you had to use TLR wheels all the time, but this was your wheel nut. It wasn't a nut. It was a screw with a 7mm, you know, nut head on it. These stupid things came out so many times while I was racing. Urgh. Anyways, all right. I need a... You know what? Why am I worrying about that? Let's worry about this. Let's get that off of there. this. Tony's on here. He said that Tony Glob is on here. He said that Kenny was in the store today. Yeah, I saw Kenny the Saturday before Christmas too. He was in there, and he was up and walking around. Kenny had just gotten done some surgery. He's our main painter at the Plex. I think a majority of my bodies that you guys can't see because they're out of frame, but I know that one and that one. And that one, they were all done by, and the one that was on my 4-wheel drive, they were all done by Kenny, so hope he gets going again soon, because a whole bunch of new cars coming out. We're going to need some bodies painted, right? Do I think Associated will do an RC10 re-release this year that isn't the CC kit? Groundswell Racing, great question. I have no inside information. But yeah, I bet you they do. I hope they do. They did it. I mean, there's a whole bunch of us that would buy those this time around that didn't get to buy them last time around. Especially if they do a limited run of them again, they'd probably sell out again within like minutes. So, again, no inside information, but I bet you there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming out from Associated this year. It's not the 50th anniversary, but my goodness, like, why wouldn't you? The B74 has a front bumper stock, however, doesn't wrap around like 8 scales do. Do you know if people just don't use them or what? Yeah, they might not use them. I see a lot more exposed, front ends on 4-wheel drive cars than anything else. Especially the B64 74s. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that all I'm going to have to do is just plop this in there. Same bearings and everything. Oh yeah, look at that. I am going to put a spacer on that side though because it's sort of not flush. Where did I put my spacers? How many of you guys have a junk drawer type thing in your work area? I always have a bunch of loose crap everywhere. But because you got times like this where you might need them. I had a whole thing of those things. What did I do with them? Do we still have all the bodies hanging up in the pit area? Been 4 years since been up to race. No, we don't. Majority of the bodies that we had that were all around, 3/4 of those are probably painted by Ken McKinney. We had to take them down. They were just getting too dirty. Like with all the dirt racing that we have and all the open track people that come in and use our place, they were just getting dirty kind of way too fast for us to keep up and keep cleaning them. So yeah, unfortunately we had to take them all down. I still have some of my bodies up kind of in a certain area, and I know Tim does the same thing with his spot. So there are still some bodies that are up, but not near the number that we used to have. So, well, this always happens. I swear, every single time that I actually need a 5mm washer, they're not where I thought. They're all junk drawers. My work area is my dining room table. That's funny. Jackson Anderson said that he started working on his cars to get ready for the Southern Indoor Championships. Now he's waiting for the B4.1 parts to convert his stuff over. Yeah, they got that new weight scale. Associated's got a new weight scale. I've had some people talk about it, ask about it. I know Peter's asked me about it while I was at my family, so I'm going to kind of start back at work tomorrow, kind of get back into the swing of things. So I got to look all that stuff up tomorrow. Midwest Power Sports year pass for the tracks is $300 for practice pass. That's only practice. So you buy one of those, and you can come out every day that we have practice and not have to pay anything extra. So, and day passes are $20. So if you came, it used to be that the year passes were $200, but so if you came 10 times, you know, and we didn't like rent to own or anything. So, but yeah, it's $300 for the year pass. Dallas, dang, I stuck one up there for the J Concepts race when I ran sore with Morant. There are some 8-scale bodies hanging around, so it might be up there still. I know Ashton Abdul's got one of his old bodies still up there, so there are some 8-scale bodies there. There's just not like the wall of touring car bodies that we had. We used to have a whole wall of that stuff, and we got rid of that a long time ago. Like a long time ago. Like maybe 2016, maybe somewhere in there. So I see the cool present I got myself for Christmas. This is not a product endorsement or anything, but kind of is. This is the Racer's Edge. I don't know what to call these. Blower? Air compressor? Mini air compressor? It's pretty freaking sweet, though. And I haven't even charged it since I first got it, and I've had it for about 3 weeks now. And yeah, this thing's awesome. Stuff's definitely been staying a lot cleaner since I got that. Now I need to get them to give me one. Give me another one. Refer them to the video. Hey, watch my live stream. Alright, I know that I have 5mm washers, again, spacers, in here somewhere. I just saw one. Like, at least I thought I saw one. What's that one? So yeah. What else we got? Open track tomorrow. Steve Wall needs to burn some nitro. Well, there is. Officially, it's after 4 o'clock. So if you can get there after 4 p.m., then you're welcome to come burn some nitro. It is Tiny Tuesday off-road, so not a lot of kids, actually, but still, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yes. Yes, you can. Dallas with a good question. What's the word with fullers on chassis? I'm not going to say anything until they announce it. Because I think I know, but I don't feel like it's my place to beat them to the punch. You know what I'm saying? So I'll keep my mouth shut. Sorry. All right, there's one. All I need is like one little one. I thought I had 5mm ones here, but there's 2. Emerson coming through in the clutch here. This is his parts bag, parts bin. All right, now we can continue on. The blower. Oh God, what is this thing called? I don't have the box for it here anymore. I don't think I do. It's Oh, here it is. Racer's Edge Power Duster. There you go, right there. Power Duster. They were 69 bucks, and it fits in my toolbox. My red toolbox that I have stuff cut out for. So it's pretty freaking awesome. Okay, let's get back to work. Bunch of guesses in the comment section there. We are racing Hot Wheels on Thursday again, and I got to get our new board. I was supposed to email the owner with a Amazon link to what I wanted, and I haven't gotten that done yet. But we'll survive one more week without it. Midwest Power Sports best low pro servo for under $100. Let's see. Depends on what you're going to use it in. The EcoPower 115T and 115S ain't too bad. They're 40 bucks for those, and they're not terrible. It's what I've been giving people who buy their like Tamiya TTO2s and TTO1 trucks now, instead of the Savix 1252 MG, which is also a nice low profile servo, but I think the specs on the 115 are better. Let's see. What's another good one? There's an MKS servo that's exactly $100. That's low profile, all metal cased. We actually carry it because some of the Honored guys were buying that one, but I don't know the name of it. I just know the price, and that it's MKS. At $109.99, you still can't beat, in my opinion, the 160T from ProTech, and that's pretty much what I try to use in all my 10 skill stuff. 160T-S too, but I like the T just because it's strong and it's still fast. Another low profile servo. There's probably some other ones out there, but those are the ones that come to my mind. Good question. Walmart just had $1 Hot Wheels on sale. Yeah, Walmart, unfortunately, my Hot Wheels are one of those things where as long as it's not too outrageous, you can kind of price them at full MSRP and nobody cares. But yeah, Walmart is basically selling them at our cost. So I have gone over there and checked that out. So a lot of good questions coming in. Let's see. John, I missed that one. Did I get the clear RC10? I did. It's sitting right here, and so I'd actually planned on starting to build this thing today during the live stream, and I wanted to get this done instead. So this is gonna have to wait. But yeah, I did. I haven't even opened it yet to look at it. So I'm patient. I hope you guys are too. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked to build this one. This one will never get ran. It's just gonna sit up here somewhere. So yes. Can we fix the board that's down there? So we don't have to fix it because I'm going to get a new one. I'm getting like a big like school size whiteboard that you can flip. So and that's up off the ground, so I don't have to bend over all the time to write everybody's name in the numbers. So with the explosion of people that we've had racing Hot Wheels, I kind of brought it up that we need to do something. And again, I just have to get that Amazon number to the owner so he can purchase it. I've just been busy, and honestly, these last few days I've just sort of kind of enjoyed my days off of work, and made sure, I don't know, not to like get all stressed out about stuff with work. So tonight's kind of getting back in the game a little bit with being here with you guys, and then tomorrow we go right back into the swing of things. More stuff coming in, more questions. Let's see. Tony also wants to know, I need a new servo for the Xray. Have to give that one that's in it back to Dustin. So, yeah, the if you're on a budget, like I said, that 115 ain't terrible. That's not a. The EcoPower servo's been really good. If you want something faster, you know, you'll have to buck up and spend a little bit more money. But the servos are one of those things where, you know, if you don't get what you want and get what you need, you're just going to end up buying it twice. You know, nobody wants that. Look at that. We can now use regular low-C wheels on our old 22X because the axles, thanks to TLR not changing it, are the same diameter and for the most part height. So that's great. That'll help Rob out a ton when it's time for new tires and stuff. So what else do we got on here? What else do we got? When's the video of Hot Wheels ready? So that's a good question. The reason why I haven't done any video of Hot Wheels night is because I'm doing a lot. So I'm managing everything. We basically have we have a 6-lane track, and people have been bringing at first up to 12 cars, but with the turnout we've been getting, we've actually been shortening that to like 10 or 8. And then we've been putting everybody in heat. So if there's, and obviously you can only have up to 6 per heat, right? So if there's 24 people, then that means that you have to have 4 grids of 6 cars running 6 times, right? And so everybody gets a lane. And so what we do is we draw numbers until we start running out of room. But basically, first people that are there, they draw numbers for their lane. We put their name on top, and then we fill that heat up, or fill this seat up, or whatever. We figure it out. And then we go through those, and we try to do them. Everybody gets at least 6, and then depending on the turnout, you know, you can have more heats, I guess. It sounds really it actually sounds confusing the way I'm explaining it. It shouldn't be confusing, but it's not. It's just that you got to be there. Anyways, I have to keep track of all that. So I have to keep track of who wins, put a little X mark so I don't forget, and then I have to flip them around to the eliminators and put them in the bracket. Then we flip it back around and we keep doing that. And that, depending on the turnout, can take a while. And the last Thursday that we had before Christmas, we were even missing people, and we had like the biggest turnout we ever had. So we could have had like 30 people there, which would have meant that we needed to add another heat. So I'm basically busy the whole time, so I don't really have time to video. So I was actually going to ask my sister, who helped me out for all those Worlds videos we did, because she was with me. I was going to ask her if she wanted to come some night and video everything for me, and then we'd cut it all up and edit it and just make it a fun video, probably like 10 minutes long, just to show what we're doing. Because I do think we've stumbled onto something that we can maintain and grow and make even better later on. Like I have this vision of having a permanent like Hot Wheels track where you start them just like 3D Bot Maker does, 4 at a time, and then they get past a certain corner and then they're free to pass. I think that'd be freaking awesome if we could get to that point. But we have to get there first, you know. So we're gonna get through this first year, and then maybe, oh man, I don't know, maybe next year we'll figure it out if we can do more. But I do want to get a video up on the YouTube channel here just to just to show what we're doing, because it is really fun, and I think it's something other hobby stores, not just hobby towns, but other hobby stores could easily do, and be able to, even if they don't have a lot of space, like those little mini mall type hobby stores, you know, most of those places are so jam packed with stuff they don't really have space to do like an event, or anything like that. Or if they do, maybe they're taking it up for mini Z racing, or maybe they're a more of a gaming hobby store and they've got tables out and everything. Well, you could set this up on one of those tables and just run through it in an hour and a half like we do, and it'd be something new and fresh for people to do. So I do want to get that out there. I think it'd be really good. Let's see. Are we open tomorrow? Yes, we are. We only close on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. So next one will be Easter. What do I think about Tessman retiring? I think that I think what do I think about that? I'm not necessarily surprised. Um, I kind of remember. I kind of remember when Matt Francis retired, and some of you guys might not know who that is. Matt Francis was, um, in my opinion, probably what should be the like prototype for a pro driver, because there's not many pro drivers that are like Matt Francis, but he's kind of what I thought should be like a prototype for a pro driver. He's very approachable. He was very good with the public, um, but also like he was 100%. And I remember I was asking him, because I happened to be at the Novak race at Trackside in 2005 when it was an on-road race, and that was his last Novak race. He'd announced that he's retiring later that year, and I remember asking him, I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to still race? Is that, what does your life look like after RC car racing? And he was like, I remember him telling me that probably wouldn't, because if he's the type of person that when he goes into something, he puts 100% into it. And if he's not able to put 100% into it, he wouldn't want to do it. And I thought this was a very interesting answer, because basically he's saying, look, if I can't be a full-time pro driver, I don't really want to, it's not like a hobby anymore, right? So I think when you get to a certain age as somebody who's been getting paid to do this stuff, it does more seem like a job and not really a hobby. Like for me, yes, I work at a hobby store. Yes, it is a job, but I'm not getting paid to race RC cars. I could quit being hobby store guy. I could quit being HobbyPlex track guy tomorrow, but I don't think I'd ever stop racing RC cars, because this is a hobby of mine. It's not necessarily a job, even though it sort of has turned into that in a way, but it's not the same thing as what I think a pro driver would be. So I think when they get to that point where they got to decide, okay, am I going to be able to be 100% into this to be at the level I need to be able to win championships in order to make a living? Or do I start to look for another path, or a way out, a way different? I think like Jared taking a step back this year, I think, in announcing his retirement from full-time professional racing, I kind of opened some eyes, saying, hey, there could be a life after being a professional RC car driver. So not necessarily surprised. I am a little bit, I guess, but in his statement, he said he's starting a family. Dude, these guys have to be gone so often, and all of you people out there with kids, it sucks when we miss stuff. My kid's going to turn 18 next year, and I've missed so much stuff that sometimes I feel like a shitty dad, and luckily, he and I have done so much together that I don't feel that very often. But could you imagine, you know, like missing your kid's first word or something like that because you had to be at an RC car race? I just, I don't think that that's something I would want to do. So I can totally see it. I hope that came across okay. Just you know, that's pretty rad. Even these old spindles, you can still put that on there. And this one, I probably don't even have to take that off of there. Some of these guys have seen 3D Bot Maker. I've kind of showed, I've kind of showed at the track a lot of when somebody asks, you know, about Hot Wheels racing. I've kind of showed them the 3D Bot Maker stuff because that's kind of where I first saw it, and I was like mesmerized by it. And I was trying to think about how we could do something similar. You know, I'm like, how can we do that? I think like a freeform style racetrack would be awesome. You know, maybe find a way to have six cars run on it all at the same time. But for our eliminators, we don't always have six cars, so we do the like I was thinking maybe we could use the 6 lane as qualifying, and then when we get to the bracket, we switch over to the free form with turns and everything. I've started investigating there's a lot of 3D printed stuff out there you can get for Hot Wheels track to basically make your own 3D Bot Maker style track. So, yeah, it's something like that's going to happen. I've already sort of talked about how I want to have an electronic timing system, and I found one online that we can get. That's it's only a couple $100, so and I've kind of shown that we can you know, the entries are only $5, but you get enough. We've been getting enough entries that we could basically pay for a timing system pretty quick. I need a stronger 2mm because this one is trying to strip out on me, and that would suck because that would make our night come to a halt rather quickly. Probably a good amount of thread lock on this thing. Kind of feel like that one's gonna also strip. I wonder if Emerson's got my stuff. I think this is a good one. All right. Theophilus is on here saying hello. I've had a pretty good night. We were up to like 33 viewers there for a little bit. It's pretty awesome. All right, we just got to get this thing off without stripping the screw. That's our goal now. Oh, got it. Woo! All right. Do you have any part support for the 22 5.0? We have a lot. We have a lot of stuff that's actually out of stock at Horizon still. So, yeah, we're actually not doing too bad with 5.0 stuff. Even 22.4 stuff we've been doing really good on too. 22x4. Like I broke up Bulkhead the other day and I saw they were out of stock at Horizon. I'm like, oh no. But then I checked our stock and I'm like, oh, we got some. Great. Because I thought we were out. But we weren't. Anybody at the Plex running the FlySky Noble? I've seen another manufacturer called Radio Master with a nice low-cost, high-end feature. So this dude on here, the Smoking Rat, actually has one of the Radio Master radios that he just purchased. I'm interested. I think A-Main actually carries that stuff, and it might be something that I'd be interested in bringing in. I haven't seen anybody at our track using the Noble yet, that I know of. There are a few crawler guys that have a Noble, though. I think Matt Lang's got a Noble. He's one of our crawler, one of our loyal crawler customers. I'm pretty sure he's got one. But the racers, I haven't seen it yet. Grayson wants to know, do you think you have screws for a Traxxas Slash? We have lots of screws. We should have all the screws for Traxxas Slash. And if we don't have them from Traxxas, we definitely got them from ProTech. So, I was just at a hobby store in Cedar Rapids, and I was very impressed by their place. And I'm always like, oh man, like these guys would be kicking our butts. But I think we have just about as much stuff as we do. We just have it more condensed. But I have yet to see a hobby store that has a screw aisle and a plug aisle like we do. We have a tremendous amount of screws. So, and if you ask me about screws, I will tell you all about it. That's an inside joke, because I was once called rude and condescending because somebody asked me for screws for their Traxxas car, and I steered him toward metric screws, and I started to grab towards standard size screws, and I said, oh, you don't want to use those. Your car's metric. You should use metric hardware. And then they called me rude and condescending because of that. So, whatever. Peter Renault says he's got a Noble and thinks it's awesome. I was able to use one on one of our crawler nights because I think I forgot my truck or didn't have my truck, and Matt let me use his truck, and I mean, yeah, I bet you they're freaking awesome. I'm just a brand snob, I guess. I don't know. Maybe if FlySky sent me one, I could try it. What am I doing? Oh, that's what I'm doing. Okay. I wonder what am I saying? Dakota just announced that he's not going to use Spectrum anymore. So it's got to be a Sanwa, you would think, right? Wouldn't be a it wouldn't be a FlySky Noble like Mayfield's got, would it? I don't know. Okay, new axles are in. So we can now use just regular old TLR wheels. And speed controller works. The 17.5 motor is in. We're going to see if we can put this battery tray holder in, and then we're going to call it good. Then we're going to be Should be good to go. Might zip tie these all down and try to clean this up a little bit. But other than that, I think we're going to be... He should be really in good shape. A lot of talking about radios on here, so Anthony Santi saying he's a little tempted to try out the Radio Link. Eric Jarman let me use his for an honored car and it wasn't bad. So that means Eric Jarman's got a Radio Link, which is pretty cool. People available to run my car to figure out setup. It's been a nightmare trying to figure it out. Sure. Yeah, I mean, pretty much any night that we're racing there, I bet you that you can always find somebody. Even if I'm busy or something like that, you can always find somebody. So, I wouldn't worry about that at all. Friday night's the best night for that sort of thing too, because there's all sorts of people there, from beginners to experts on Friday night. It's always a good night to come out, if especially if it's your first time, or if you know you're not quite sure about stuff. It's a great night to come out. Oh, look at that. That's Servos moving. While we're all talking about radios, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I just noticed that this old school servo horn, the ball stud is kind of loose. I wish I could put a longer one in there, but I think I'm just going to pop that out and thread lock it real fast and make sure that it's not going anywhere, because that would suck if that came out in the middle of a race. Lose all your steering. This car has been updated to the bell crank, so the Losi went from a slider rack to bell cranks kind of midway through the 2.0 run, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think the 2.0 came with them originally. I'm pretty sure it was in the middle of that run. They went to the bell cranks instead. John's on here. Don't be rude and condescending. Mini B racing on Friday? No, Grayson. Mini B racing on Tuesdays. Tiny Tuesday off-road. Fridays, let's see. Friday you could practice, because I'll have the carpet track up by 4 o'clock, but there won't be any racing on Friday night. You wouldn't want to run your Mini B out on Plex Spec on a Friday night, because with as quickly as the ball studs come off of those cars, your Mini B would probably smushed and have at least 2 complete tie rods coming off and missing forever if you came out to race. So you can practice on the carpet, of course, because we'll have it up. But yeah, no racing on Friday for Mini B. I got the hiccups again. Oh man, stop using that one. It's like the second time I almost stripped a screw because the head on that thing is about done. In fact, I think I'm going to put that in my old tool drawer. I've got a drawer dedicated to like old tools, so I don't accidentally keep using some crappy tool over and over again, but I don't like to throw stuff away, so I kind of just keep them in case, like, if I was missing a 2.0, it'd be like a last ditch sort of thing. Ken Peterson's on here. So what's the word on B7 availability? I'm going to try to find out tomorrow. So I work all day, and the plan is to get a hold of Associated tomorrow and see what's up. So I'll find out tomorrow, I hope. Because obviously everybody was closed today, and I haven't actually been at work in 4 days, so the B7 stuff kind of came out over the weekend, and I figured I'd find out about what I need to find out when I get back to the grind. So this was the tray that you used when you ran rear motor and used a Velcro, right? Is that what that is? Pretty sure. Let's look. Hang on. This is my Mint 2.0. That's still in rear motor form. Yeah. Okay. So when it was rear motor, you had this here. And then you would use the Velcro. But J Concepts had their battery tray holder that you could get aftermarket. Not many people used the Velcro after a certain amount of time. They started coming out with these aftermarket carbon fiber battery straps. So that's why that's in there. I just happen to have, and I thought I had it, and I did. But I just happen to have this lying around that you got when you bought your low C22, and you got the rear motor and the mid motor packets with it. This was in the packet. So this is going to go like that, and then that comes down like that. So he should be able to put his battery in without worrying about it coming out. And I'm going to actually change this to my drill. That's a good question. Anthony Santi wants to know which generation of the TLR 22s do you like the most? So, like the first version of the 22, so the 22 and the 22.0 had that real skinny chassis, right? And so out of those two cars, I would say I like the 2.0 the best because I had the most success with it, right? So when Mayfield was running for TLR, he had a setup. You can still find it, I think, in their setup guides. And you remember those Team Orion batteries that had the weights in them that you could slide out? They were shorty packs. And you could slide in and out these different weights so you could create some weight bias. Well, he took two of those silver weights and he put them on the sides here, and then ran a standard shorty in the middle. So it was a standard shorty pack, probably like a 4,000 or 5,000, something like that. And then those two Orion weights went here. And if you follow that setup to a T, that was definitely the best 22 that I had driven in that group with the skinny chassis, with this chassis. So the 3.0 was kind of a bigger change, and it was kind of it didn't last very long, but it was in between the obviously the 2.0 and the 4.0. It still carried most of these parts on it. The 4.0 was a big change because if I remember correctly, like the front spindles and carriers that we're using now were made for that car. The different length drive shafts in the back were made for that car. The transmission case was completely different because the 3.0 didn't have that Delrin transmission that would break, if I remember correctly, or there was like a conversion or something. I don't know. The 4.0 was pretty good, but that was the last car that I ever drove as a member of the TLR team. So I like the 4.0. But the 2.0 with the two batteries, or the two battery weights on the side, that was a really good car, and I had a lot of success with that version of that car. So I guess I would say that it was that one. Racer Oz on here. He says he remembers the first time running the 22 with the aluminum chassis, big bore shocks, absorbed everything. Definitely changed off-road car development. No doubt. No, for sure it did. And then Dustin Evans ran. He won the 2011, I think it was, Reedy race. With that car in mid-motor, he was the first one to really take the mid-motor availability of the 22 car and actually have success with it, I think. So that was pretty cool to see. Then it went all downhill from there. I remember the first time I ran a 22. So I actually got mine early. Some of the members of the TLR team got their kits before they were released, and were lucky enough to have that happen. I got one. I was able to build it and race it towards the end of our outdoor summer series season. I broke a front A-arm in the main of like the last summer series race, and I not only did I not have parts for it because there weren't parts yet, but I lost the summer series that year because of that. But it wasn't the car's fault. It was just the track was gnarly because it was a big outdoor 8-scale track, you know. But yeah, that was a brutal day. I was like, you got to be kidding me when that happened. Grayson asked a question, but I'm going to skip it real fast. John wants to know, he ordered a clear RC10 and haven't got it yet. Will I still get it? I think so, because we've got, we under ordered ours. Like, I wasn't expecting, I didn't know what to expect. And so I think we only got half of what we ordered, and they were gone within a day. I posted it on our Facebook page. I bought mine. One of the perks of having a hobby store, right? And then the other two went pretty quick. So we have a guy who's prepaid for them waiting, and we have like 8 now in back order at multiple areas. And I have not been told that they're limited run. So I'm 95% sure you'll probably get it. Just depends on when. So there's one for sale on Marketplace, built or unbuilt. Grayson wants to know what tires work the best on the off-road track at the Plex, and that would be either clay compound positrons or bald eagles, depending on if you're comfortable running slicks or not, from Proline, or silver compound smoothies or ellipses from J Concepts. And again, it's all about if you are comfortable with the idea of running slicks. Sometimes on Friday nights, slicks aren't the best. You might need some tread on Fridays. Kind of depends on the track and how many nitro guys have been running all week, drying out that track of ours in the wintertime. And then if you're Raw Speed's got a radar that they have a clay compound, and what's the other one? AKA has those Vipers. Are they Vipers? Is that right? Pretty sure they're called Vipers. And we've got those too. Unbuilt, unopened box. They're asking $425 for it. Dude. Okay. They're not even going to be limited edition. They're, as far as I know. So, sometimes the stuff that people put on on Marketplace and they think they've struck gold, I don't get. Oh, look at that. It doesn't even fit. What the heck? Why doesn't that fit in there? It's got to go the other way? Lame. Super lame. The box is open? They want $425 for it? No. Yeah, whatever. All right, so we're going to try to... So this battery tray post turned one way, the battery won't fit, so we're going to turn it the other way. I think I'm going to run out of room because this gigantor receiver that's in here, this old school Spectrum receiver, we might have to turn on its side. So we'll figure that out after we get this battery tray in, so we can actually hold the battery in place without any Velcro or anything like that, right? So that goes like that. And this, probably gonna have to go this way. Yep, I think it goes that way. Okay. All right. They're $319 MSRP, dude. Yeah, Hobby Haven has like 6 of them. They're not rare. They're just out of stock everywhere. So if you didn't get one, if your local place didn't get one, or if you're trying to buy them online, they're not going to have them online because they got sold everywhere first. And they're not limited. I will say I'm actually impressed by how little there is on YouTube for the clear car. That's why I kind of wanted to do like a live stream build of it, but I just, like I said tonight, I wanted to get this done, so it'll have to wait. That's one thing I don't miss is this weird wire that's in like a weird spot. There it goes. Now it's not going to go anywhere. Hooray. Needs like a pad or something on it though to hold that battery down. It's weird that that doesn't fit. Because shorty size batteries haven't gotten any longer, right? That's weird. You know what I do have are some, where are those? I have these pads that came with the BBX and I didn't use them. Oh, did you guys see my BBX? While we're on that subject, check this out. Got my BBX all done. And it runs. Got the receiver in there. Got its own battery. Used an older speaking show. I know on the previous show we had talked about using one of my Hobby Wing stock ESCs, but I didn't want to waste them because we're probably going to put them back in a couple of Emerson's stock cars for the upcoming off-road season. So I ended up using an old Orion speaking controller that I had lying around. And the other thing I didn't really do was they got this really cool window netting, but I only put it on one side because if you, unfortunately, where the speaking controller and the battery is here, I have to have my hands free to go in there and plug it and unplug it. And so I couldn't use that netting on this side because I couldn't get my fingers in there. So I had to sacrifice that look on one side of it. I actually thought about putting it back here instead, which would be kind of cool. I have enough of it left that I could do that. There is supposed to be a spare tire that goes here, but I don't have one, so I'm not that worried about it. I kind of wish this thing had a wing. I think it'd be really cool to have a wing, but it doesn't, so whatever. I ordered wheels for this thing so I can mount up some modern 2.2 tires to it instead of these gigantor front ribbed tires and these kind of skinny knobby tires. I'm thinking, again, I'm kind of thinking like Hobby Haven next year, on a Wednesday night sometime. I think it'd be fun to take this and go drive on the track and get some video and stuff. But also the lights work. Look at that. So, tail light, front headlights. So, yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I painted the driver. Had some extra paint lying around from a previous interior I did for a crawler, so I just used the same paint and got that all figured out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's gonna be shelf clean until spring. I don't want to get it muddy or anything like that, and it's with the cold and the thaw. Even if you do find any ground that doesn't have snow on it, it's gonna get muddy. So we're gonna wait. Might drive it inside at the Plex sometime. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Maybe I will. But definitely am looking forward to driving it outside on a big outdoor dirt track somewhere. Loose dirt, kind of get some roost going and stuff like that. So got the HobbyPlex show stickers on it. I'm actually out of regular HobbyPlex stickers. Otherwise, there'd be a bigger one right here. But when I get a new sheet, I'll probably end up trading these smaller ones out for a bigger one on the side there. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. This was fun. Like, this was actually really fun to build, and it was really easy. I mean, it was just standard Tamiya stuff. You just find your trees, all the parts trees. So, and then I'm gonna look for something real fast. Am I at the Plex? I'm not. There they are. Or was that, yeah, at the Plex? Yeah, I might drive it sometime on the dirt track just to get just to be able to drive it first, We're gonna unplug this zip ties. Where's my zip ties at? Zip ties, zip ties, zip ties. All right, we're going to try something real fast before I'm going to flip this around. We're going to flip this around one more time. This battery tray strap thing is bugging me. John says it took him a year to get the 45th anniversary edition Porsche. Is that the one in the orange box? Because I think the Plex actually had a couple of those when they came out. Or am I thinking of something different? I cannot believe that does not go in there. Wonder why. I think that's wrong. Well, whatever. Peterson wants to know if I could go back and re-race a year's worth of my racing career, what era would I go back to? Huh. Well, so I was actually just thinking about this the other day. When I'm driving back from my in-laws' house, you know, it's Nebraska and Iowa. There's not much to look at, and so um, I was actually thinking that if I could find a time machine and if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would like to redo. I would like to redo the 97, 98, 99 era of my RC car racing because um, I was not very, what's the word, assertive in what I wanted to do, and probably wasted a lot of time and a lot of energy on stuff that it was completely unnecessary at the time. So I think I think that's the I think that's what I would like to go to the stock nats in '96 and go back there and not crash with 3 laps left to go, so about a minute, and make the A main because I was on an A main pace, and it was rocket round, and it had rained the night before, and my heat just happened to be kind of in the middle because it was a D main heat, so we didn't have to race in the mud, but the track didn't completely dry out, and so it was very fast, and I was on an A main run with a dwindling battery, so I might still not might have made it, but I didn't do myself any favors because I hit a pipe on like the third to last lap and came off the pace to be that 9th, 10th qualifier in the A main, and I would have done it with an LXT. So I would like to go back and tell my younger self, or just whatever, in an alternate universe we could do that sort of thing, that you need to go up to Gilossi Senior and just tell him what you want to do, and not be such a chicken shit. So probably that era, because I feel like if you the question would be, can I take the knowledge that I know now, like would I be just transporting myself back with everything that I know now into that previous version of yourself and then racing RC cars, because I think I could definitely do better, yeah, I don't know. I think that 97, 98, 99 would be an interesting trip. Anyways, John says no, it's a white box. Okay, well then we didn't have any. We had those orange ones. They were an anniversary edition of some sort, but maybe it's a different one I'm thinking of. Peter says the rate that that Associated releases new models, he'll never get another Tamiya. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Green paint job on the box. Huh. So, I got these little pads I didn't actually use on my car. I'm pretty sure they go beside or underneath the battery, but we're going to use them here for the same purpose, to hold this battery in a little bit. So we're going to cut, unless Emerson stole my scissors. Luckily, I have his toolbox. So there you go. Emerson's getting ready to go to the Southern Indoor Championships next weekend. Big nitro race on his own. He's going with a couple of our local racers, and I unfortunately can't get that much time off, so he's going to go give it a shot. So if you're watching race results and stuff, keep an eye out, see where he's doing. He's in the he'll be in the intermediate class where you can be a sponsored driver, but you're not in the pro class. Because that's what he is. He's not a pro. He's 17. He's just a sponsored kid is all. So of course I'll be watching from home, all nervous, you know, texting him. Hopefully he won't need me to give him any pep talks or anything, because he'll be doing awesome like I know he can do. Oh, it's still moving around. Ugh. There's got to be something on the sides, isn't there? I'll have to figure that one out. Didn't they make like... Oh, didn't they make like brass... Like a brass thing to go on the side? Or did they not do that? That's going to bug me. Because that battery's just going to slide around now. So I can see why he had the thing in there with the pieces on the side. Why doesn't it have that like that? Might have to go into the archives. I gotta like find an instruction manual. What are we at? An hour and 45 minutes. Holy crap. We've actually made pretty good progress here. So 17.5 motor. Change the front hexes. That was my big thing, was to get them on modern wheels instead of the old low-C wheels, because you can't really find those anymore. So we got that taken care of. We got the battery tray to close down, but we need to find a way to lock in that battery on the side, so I'll have to find something there. I wonder if I can just use something like that. I got these servo mounts. Do I have two of them? I got one. Do I not have two? Really? That's annoying. So I have this like servo mount here, right? Screw in the bottom. Could just put it in there on both sides of them, and then that battery's not going to go anywhere, at least. Because right now it can slide completely out. So maybe that's what I'll do. Try to see. This is a crawling piece, so I bet you I have it in all my crawler stash. So yeah, let's figure out this guy. We're going to probably turn this on its side like a so, and then we can still plug everything into it, and we'll have all that room for what we need here. So I'm going to take this guy, this old receiver. Pretty sure it'll still be fine on its side. I know you don't want to put transponders on the side, but I think the receiver will be fine. And like I said, there's plenty of room so that when this is plugged in, yeah, that'll be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just zip tie this stuff up and make it look nice, so we don't have to worry about it getting in the way of anything. Big old white wing on the back here. The Smoking Rat said I could just steal all of his tools. My son, he likes to take my tools. It's fine to a point. Like I've repeatedly got him multiple versions of this and his own bits, and then the next thing you know, I'm missing them again. So like I've got my own. I actually bought my own 1.5 again from my store because I got sick and tired of this disappearing. And what happened the other day? It disappeared on me. This is a cool tool. 4mm and 5mm driver from STRC. It's actually made for like the mini stuff, like the SCX24 and Mini B. So I thought this was a pretty neat tool. Also got this 5mm nut driver from MIP because on the 22X4 car, it uses a 5mm nut to hold in the ring gear, and without a good wrench, it's a huge pain in the butt to service the car. So having a good 5mm is a big deal. This was $17.99, totally worth it. But this is $14.99, and it actually like does the exact same thing. So it just wasn't out when I ended up getting that tool. So go figure. What was I doing? I already forgot what I was doing. Oh, that's right. So we need to shorten this and make it look nice without getting crazy. That is one of my gripes about the old Novak speed controllers was the wires for the fan and the wires to go to the receiver were right here, and they're pointed directly up. So the footprint of their speed controllers actually were pretty big. You know, but this is like 10 years. It's 2024 now, so this is like, 2016 and previous. Those little Hobby Wings, man. The Hobby Wing Just Stock Pros. God, those are good. So good speed controllers, and they're small. Like, they're just so small. They just kind of fit into everything. I think we made pretty good progress here tonight on this car. It's going to be ready to go for this Friday for sure. And we probably, this is a really short lead on it. Almost thought we didn't need this little, he's got like this this little extension on there. Yeah, just stock pro, stock spec, whatever, XR10, I call them, I guess I called them the wrong name, but I thought they were just stock pro or whatever, but just stock spec, XR10, 80 amp. These little guys, I love these things. I was actually tempted to take this off and give him one of these, but I actually need these two for Emerson's buggy and truck coming up this this spring, so can't do it. Got everybody excited, like, what? Just Stock Pro, what's that? Dallas wants to know, is our 21 class spec motor? No. Our independent buggy 21.5 on carpet is whatever brand you want. Thought about doing that, but so I know it's worked in other places, but in my experience, anytime that I spec something, whether it be tires, motor, speed controller, other than say like slash spec, which I don't think counts at what I'm talking about here, but in the past when I've tried to do that stuff, the turnout's just not there. People want to run they want to run their brand. Like if somebody really likes a certain motor, they want to be able to run it. So, and it seems like when you limit it to one thing, I think the on-road crowd's different. I think they actually want to be told what to run in a way. Like that's why to me, a spec classes only use Reedy for 21.5 and 17.5 and stuff, and then your hobby wings are allowed in another one or something like that. But the off-road crowd, in the past I've tried to spec stuff, and it just doesn't take very well. So, no, we don't. Um, that being said, so the J Concept series now has a 21.5 class. It was never so this is brand new for this year as a 21.5 spec class. So I know I've talked about this before, I think, but our Plex spec, adding Plex spec to the INS race is always sort of a double-edged sword for me. It gives my locals that normally wouldn't race an opportunity to do so, and then get a cool interview with Matt if they can talk. And then, but at the same time, it might take away entry. So if we get to that point where we're sold out, and then we have 2 heats of Plex spec, that's 20 cars or so. It might hurt the ability for other people to be able to come. So last year it didn't look like we were going to be a completely full race, so we added Plex spec. But I think this year, because they have 21.5 as a class, I think what we're going to do is not have an official Plex spec class, and I'm just going to lean those Plex racers to race in that 21.5 buggy class, because hopefully, any expert driver that wanted to race in that would get made fun of. I hope. That's where our guys should be this coming up season. So, but on carpet, 21.5 is perfect for the independent guys. It's perfect. It's a perfect motor. Grayson says, I hope I can race Friday. My servo isn't moving in one direction after trying to switch my slash to LCG. Any ideas why? So on the LCG chassis, you have to use a different servo horn. You can't use the same horn that was on your slash. So on the slash, as it comes out of the box, it's got this big white servo horn on there. If you put the LCG chassis on there and are still trying to use that same servo horn, it's actually going to rub. It's going to hit. And then if you already used the little servo horn that they give you in that LCG chassis kit, if you didn't center your servo before you put your servo horn on, then you might not have it might not be able to turn one way. So I would recommend just bringing it up, and we can test that real quick and tell you whether or not it's going to work or not. So, but my guess is one of those two things: either you didn't center your servo before you put your servo horn on, or you're using the wrong horn and it's rubbing the chassis. Those are the two things that I usually see. Yeah, 21.5. Yeah. I like how we do it on the carpet, where you have the mod guys run mod, and the expert guys are running 17.5, and then your regular Joe guys, the independent guys, are running 21.5. I've always thought on the big dirt track, our big dirt track, being as how big it is, I think 21.5 would be sort of not appropriate, I guess, so that's why our independent guys have always been on the dirt 17.5 still. But like I said, the J Concept series, it's a class, so it's a national class, so we have to run it. So maybe that'll show me that the 21.5 motors will work on our big dirt track and not be super boring, and maybe we'll just make it mandatory for all that. I don't know. If our dirt track was a lot smaller, then I would have probably decided that our independent guys should be 21.5. But because our track's so big, I don't know. I always thought it'd be kind of like boring because like you're almost some spots could probably be wide open like all the time. Grayson says, I don't think I had a new servo horn in the kit. So if it's a two-wheel drive one, if it's a two-wheel drive slash, I'm pretty sure in the kit there's a new little black servo horn that should have came with it, I think. If it's four-wheel drive, might not be, because I think the four-wheel drives don't use that same horn. So Dallas says, seems like at Fastlane home track coming back to the hobby 21.5. Well, yeah, so like Fastlane's like a perfect example. So Fastlane's dirt track is a tick smaller than our carpet track. So it makes total sense for them to have a 21.5 class, in my opinion. That is the perfect example of where a 21.5 buggy would be ideal. And the way I would do it, if I was running the show there, is I would split it up. You'd have your mod guys run mod, your expert guys run 17.5, and then your independent guys run 21.5. Or you don't have to call it independent. You can just say mod, expert stock, or expert 17.5, whatever you want to call it. But you'd like have that division, so you have a route for people to go. It's kind of like it's similar to how they do nitro at like these race time events with pro, intermediate, and whatever they call the other one, sportsman or whatever. But that size track is perfect for 21.5. That's why we do it on the carpet that way, because I just thought, some of these kids coming up from Plex Spec racing a 17.5 buggy on carpet, that speed's not that much slower than mod on carpet because our track's a lot smaller. So yeah, for sure. It's two-wheel drive. So Grayson, that's probably it then. So that if you get to your car and look at it, I bet you that white servo horn is probably hitting the chassis somewhere. That's my guess. That top cover for that, so you got the chassis and then that top plate on that slash LCG, that servo horn's probably rubbing it. So, and to continue the discussion, Dallas says mod almost doesn't exist unless it's a points race. So other than 17.5 and 21.5. Yeah. Yeah. Some tracks unfortunately don't have mod. We're pretty lucky in Omaha that we have a mod class almost no matter what on a Saturday. Fridays not so much, but Fridays are a beginner night anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But definitely on a Saturday, we're very fortunate that I have been able to race mod two-wheel drive buggy pretty much every week that I want to from 2011 till now. So, all right, that's 2 hours. I think that's plenty of time. We got all of my major things that I wanted to get done here done. So we've got the 17.5 motor put in. We got the battery strap in place. We've got the front hexes changed over to a more modern regular 17 millimeter hex. And there's a couple other things I'll have to go through here, but all of our major goals were finished tonight with this guy. So everything works, which is awesome. So we're going to hopefully see him on the track on Fridays. And yeah, should be good to go. Next week, there won't be anything because I'll be building a racetrack Sunday night, all day Monday, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. And I still got to run Tiny Tuesdays on Tuesday, so I'll be up against a gun to get that track done by the time the Techno Series rolls around. Barring any unforeseen, mechanical issues with our equipment, which we should be past that since we got the tamper all fixed up and everything again. So, and then we're probably going to have a proper podcast next 2 Mondays from now. So not next Monday, but the Monday after that. Will's going to the Chili Bowl, so I'll be interested to find out how he did down there, and he can tell us all about that race. And then, of course, we'll be able to talk about the Techno Series and the last month or so. So, then after that, we'll get back to some more after hours on Mondays, and hopefully, if I'm not building the Clear Edition RC10, I do have that Vanquish Carbon Pro over there that I still have yet to crack the seal on as well. I was planning on making a straight up video for that one, like a build vid. So, no big rush to build that one since our 10 scale crawling can't do anything until spring anyway. So, yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. This was a good night tonight. And one more question here. Power Sports, Midwest Power Sports, dirt oval chassis to buy. I'm the wrong person to ask because I honestly have no idea. Like that would be a great question to ask Will on the podcast in a couple weeks, or come out this Sunday. They're racing dirt oval on Sunday, and just check out and talk to some of the guys that are here racing at the Plex on a dirt oval night. So, because I have no idea. I'd be talking out of my butt. I'd be like, oh, Custom Works, and then you find out nobody's running Custom Works. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to leave, and hope you all have a good New Year's Day, and hope you had a good New Year's and Christmas holiday season. It's a fresh start for us at the Plex. 2024 starts today. I think we had a pretty good year so far. It's over. We had a pretty good 2023, didn't we? Thought we had a great year of RC car racing. A lot of stuff going to happen this year, and really excited to see some of the changes that are going to happen at the Plex come summer. So, yeah, with that, I'll probably talk to you guys either in person at the store or on here during our next live stream. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure that if you haven't, you subscribe, like, tell your friends, hey, check this guy out, and watch all my videos. So I will see you guys later. Bye.